Hi, my name is Prateek Jain. I am from Udaipur, Rajasthan, but I currently live in Los Angeles, California with my wife and two kids. I am an engineering manager at Google and I've been there for about 2 years. I think there's this quote that I've remembered from my childhood days of reading a book from Ruskin Bond, and the quote goes something like, "When all the wars are over, a butterfly will still be beautiful." The skills that I feel that are essential to be successful in my profession, I would say, are three C's: curiosity, commitment, and communication. Hi, my name is Prateek Jain. I am from Udaipur, Rajasthan, but I currently live in Los Angeles, California with my wife and two kids. I am an engineering manager at Google and I've been there for about 2 years. Before that, I was VP of engineering at a company called eHarmony here in Los Angeles. And prior to that, I have spent some time at companies like Canon, Vocalect, and Siemens. I've been in the industry for over 16 plus years, but my first job was back in the day when I was still in college, and I managed a network of 3 computers at a cyber cafe in Udaipur back in Jagdish Chowk. And that is when the internet was primarily accessed by the tourists who used to visit Udaipur. I grew up in Udaipur in a joint family. We used to live in Sarvaritu Vilas, and I went to school at Alok Senior Secondary School in Sector 11. My mom was also a teacher at the same school. Most of my childhood was spent playing cricket, riding our bikes, and playing in and around Gulab Bagh and Duthalai with my friends and my cousins. As far as struggles in my career are concerned, to be honest, for the most part, I've been really fortunate. But if I were to recall an incident that was back in the day when I was in college in Bangalore, although I was the first one to be placed at a job during campus placements, but unfortunately I had a bad incidence of back pain, and I had to be bedridden for 6 months, and I could not really join the job on the set date. And then later on, the company merged with another company and they had to rescind my offer. And I think those were still the days when the economy was recovering from a slowdown in the technology industry, and finding jobs was really hard. So I remember as a fresh college graduate going to Bangalore, going to several open placement events and trying to look for a job. I was fortunate that my cousins were still living in Bangalore, so I could share a place with them. I remember spending the days on 3 rupee rice meals and walking 10 to 12 kilometers every day to and back from the work so that I could save some money. But I think among all of what was happening, there was one thing that was working for me. First, I was really enjoying the job that I was doing, and I was really good at writing software, right? So it wasn't long before things fell in place. So I just kept the hope, and that kept me ticking. As far as the challenges that I faced during the coronavirus pandemic, to be honest, my job hasn't been as impacted by this pandemic as some of the other people have had to face. But I would say that I think keeping your team motivated during this time, which is very difficult on both a professional and personal level for a lot of folks, and ensuring that everyone stays safe, is, I would say, one of the unique challenges that not just me but many other managers and leaders in the industry and many other professions have had to face. And I think that has been somewhat of a similar situation for me. The skills that I feel that are essential to be successful in my profession, I would say, are three C's: curiosity, commitment, and communication. Curiosity to learn, because in this industry, right, especially in technology, something new is coming every day. There is some new technology to learn, there is some new framework, the industry is changing, the regulations are changing. So consistent curiosity to learn something new is important. Staying committed to your work, right? There are several ups and downs. There are several challenges that you face during the execution of a project. I think staying committed to your delivery and end goal is really important. And then communication, right? I think software, as much as it is a technical profession, it is also a profession of communication, because what you're really doing is you're acting as a bridge between technology and the problem that you're trying to solve for a specific business, right? So I think communicating with the stakeholders, communicating with the members of your team, making sure you're indeed building what the customer wants is really, really important. And I think communication is the key to be able to do this right. So again, to repeat, curiosity, commitment, and communication are the three things that are really vital to be successful from my perspective in this profession. Now, what's the advice that I'll have for somebody who's new to my profession? I'd say first, develop these three skills, but more importantly, be in this profession only if you like it, right? It's a profession of lifelong learning, and it requires a lot of commitment and collaborative attitude. And if these are not the things that you enjoy, maybe you'll see some early success in the early days, but then eventually you'll stop enjoying what you're doing, and the effect of that will show in your work. So develop these three skills and continue doing this only if you enjoy this. What are the fun things I like to do outside of work? I think some of these are basically carried forward from the things that I used to enjoy during my childhood. I love reading books. Now I basically read more biographies. Back in the day, I was a fan of Hindi comic books. And then I enjoy doing biking and hiking around the Los Angeles area. So, which has been more valuable in my career, education or experience? I would say both, right? Education offers you a solid foundation, and that way you can make the most of the experience that you get, right? So good education opens doors for you. It opens opportunities for you to get jobs at good companies where you will meet other good people. And as you spend more and more time with people who are good at what they're doing, you're going to learn from them constantly, right? And I've been really fortunate from that perspective. In every single job that I've been at, I've been very fortunate to find people who are my co-workers from whom I've learned a tremendous amount. And I think a lot of what I know today is what I owe to both what I learned early on from my friends who I was studying with, and then later on from my colleagues who basically taught me on the job. I'd say that I do not have any specific role model, but as I had stated earlier, I like reading biographies, and I've read several biographies about various people from various walks of life. And what I could say is that each one of them have had made some crucial decisions in their life which really altered the course of their life and the success in their career. And I think those are the incidents from which you can learn a thing or two. And that's how I basically do my learning and derive some inspiration. What I could do differently if I could go back in time, what I'd simply say is that I would probably pay a bit more attention in my math and science classes back in school during the time I was in like 6th grade to 10th grade. And I say that because those are the years in which you build solid fundamentals in these subjects. And what that does is it builds a solid foundation for you to learn bigger and more complex things in the future. And at that point, I wasn't really paying as much attention to my studies, just because I like to do things practically, and a lot of what's taught to you in those days is pretty theoretical. So I just pay some more attention to school in that time. It is often perceived, right, that leadership is a thing for extroverts, and shy and introverted people cannot really be good leaders. Well, I can tell you from my very own example that it's an absolute myth. And absolutely leadership skills can be developed. But what I'd say is that the brand of leadership that I subscribe to, I firmly believe that a lot of those skills that you require to be a good leader are acquired during the formative years of your life, right? The kind of upbringing that you have had, the kind of access you have had to your teachers, and the environment in which you operated and learned and grew, right? That has a huge impact on what you are as a person, and that reflects in your leadership. But if you haven't had that kind of access, you still can become a good leader. But what it will require from you is a very open mind and willingness to learn towards how things could be done differently. And then it will take a slightly longer time frame because it does require a change in your perspective and your thinking. So absolutely can be done, but might take a bit longer if some of the things are not in place. My style of leadership is trust and verify. In my several years of leadership experience, the thing that I've come to learn is that the difference between success and failure for any project that you are responsible for is only the people who you have working on that project. So, as a manager, I spend a lot of time upfront trying to make sure that I'm hiring the right people on my team and making sure that they have the right skills for the job and the right mindset to get things done. Uh, in my view, a good leader also has to be really selfless and they should be very secure in their skin, and they should be able to derive satisfaction from the success of their own team. Uh, so be available to your team when they bring problems and concerns. Don't micromanage, but at the same time be really observant and look out for the problems that your team might be running into but are a bit hesitant in acknowledging, and make yourself available so just so they feel comfortable coming up to you with problems and concerns. Sometimes leaders do get a bit intimidating and the team is afraid of surfacing the problems to them, which absolutely creates a catastrophe later on. What's my favorite song that I like to sing in my mind? There's this song from the movie Prem Pujari, which is Phoolon ke rang se, dil ki kalam se. This is a song that I really find myself singing in my head most of the times. The people who really inspire me are the folks who really take pride in the quality of the work that they do and they really dedicate their life to their craft, right? So, I mean, just for those reasons, I've really appreciated the Japanese culture for a long time, which really promotes dedicating yourself to a cause or to a skill. I think there's this quote that I've remembered from my childhood days of reading a book from Ruskin Bond, and the quote goes something like, "When all the wars are over, a butterfly will still be beautiful." And the way I break this quote down for me is that, hey, look, I mean, you could be chasing after many complicated things in life and many big turbulences and problems, but at the end of the day, as a human, you derive happiness in simple pleasures, right? And simple things, just like, hey, like sitting in a park or taking a stroll in a park. And I think that is really inspiring, that hey, things could get crazy and complicated at times, but try to find your pleasure in simple things. Yeah, thank you.
वेल दोस्तों, ऐसी कई सारी स्टोरीज हम पहले भी आपके लिए लेकर आ चुके हैं, लेकिन दोस्तों आज की ये स्टोरी थी एक ऐसे शख्स की जिन्होंने हमेशा अपने वर्क को डेडिकेशन के साथ पूरा किया और आज कड़ी मेहनत के दम पर ये मुकाम हासिल किया। जी हाँ, जापानीज कल्चर से बेहद प्रभावित हुए और उन्हीं की तरह अपने हर काम को समर्पण भाव से पूरा करते आए हैं। तो दोस्तों अभी आप जिन्हें सुन रहे थे ये थे प्रतीक जैन, जो लॉस एंजलिस कैलिफोर्निया में रहते हैं और अभी गूगल कंपनी में इंजीनियरिंग मैनेजर हैं। दोस्तों उदयपुर झीलों की नगरी में जन्म लेने से लेकर लॉस एंजलिस पहुंचने तक का इनका ये जो सफर है ना, बड़ा ही इंटरेस्टिंग रहा है। हर सिचुएशन को इन्होंने समझदारी के साथ हैंडल किया और ऐसे कई सारे चैलेंजेस भी आए इनकी जिंदगी में। जी हाँ, इनकी लाइफ में कई सारे चैलेंजेस आए जिनका सामना भी इन्होंने बखूबी किया। दोस्तों इन्हें बुक्स पढ़ना बेहद पसंद है, खास तौर पर बायोग्राफीज। और इसके अलावा अभी ये जिस इंडस्ट्री से जुड़े हैं, जिस इंडस्ट्री में कार्यरत है, अगर जो भी शख्स उस इंडस्ट्री में जाता है तो उन सभी के लिए इनका एक अच्छा सुझाव है, एक बेहतर सजेशन है। इस प्रोफेशन में अगर आगे बढ़ना है तो इनके मुताबिक 3 चीजें बेहद जरूरी है। और क्या है वो 3 चीजें, जरा गौर फरमाइएगा दोस्तों। वो है क्यूरियोसिटी, जी हाँ, एंड द सेकंड वन इज कमिटमेंट, एंड द थर्ड एंड द लास्ट वन इज कम्युनिकेशन। वेल फ्रेंड्स, अगर आपने इन 3 चीजों को फॉलो कर लिया ना तो आप इस फील्ड में काफी आगे जा सकते हैं और आपको कोई भी आगे बढ़ने से नहीं रोक सकता, ये हमारा विश्वास है। तो दोस्तों, ये थी प्रतीक जैन की स्टोरी और ये था इनका एक अच्छा सजेशन आज के यंगस्टर्स के लिए, जो भी इस फील्ड में, इस इंडस्ट्री में आगे बढ़ना चाहते हैं, उन सभी के लिए। जी हाँ दोस्तों, वेल आज की इस स्टोरी में फिलहाल इतना ही। अगर आपको हमारी आज की ये कहानी पसंद आई हो तो जल्दी से दोस्तों इसे बिना वक्त गवाए सीधा लाइक, कमेंट और शेयर कर दीजिए। और दोस्तों, जैसा कि हम सभी जानते हैं कि हर कहानी का अंत एक नई शुरुआत के साथ ही होता है, तो चलिए आइए दोस्तों, कीजिए एक नई शुरुआत अपनी ही कहानी के साथ और उस कहानी को शेयर करें हमारे साथ। फ्रेंड्स, प्लीज शेयर योर इंस्पिरेशनल स्टोरी विद अस। वी विल बी बैक सून विद अ न्यू इंस्पायरिंग स्टोरी। जी हाँ दोस्तों, जल्द ही लौटेंगे हम आपके पास एक और नई कहानी के साथ। So friends, stay tuned with us and keep watching our inspiring stories. Let's inspire together. We can, India can.